BBC stroke survivor Andrew Marr has nailed Theresa May in a devastating TV clash, saying the current NHS crisis could have left him dead. The top interviewer, who was left partially paralysed by a stroke in 2013, confronted the Prime Minister after 5,000 ambulances spent more than an hour queuing outside A&E in 1 week over Christmas. And he raised the case of Leah Butler-Smith, who said she waited more than 4 hours at Broomfield Hospital in Essex while her mother slipped in and out of consciousness. Mr. Marr declared, "If I'd been waiting for 5 hours, after my stroke I would not be here talking to you. This is about life and death. And up and down the country people are having horrendous experiences of the NHS. When you say there is a plan, or not, there is a real problem. What would you say to Leah Butler-Smith and her mother?" Yet arrogant Mrs. May shrugged off the problems by saying, "Nothing's perfect." Shadow Health Secretary Jonathan Ashworth said, "Yet again Theresa May has shown utter disregard for those patients languishing on trolleys, delayed in ambulances in the freezing cold weather or forced to wait longer in pain and anxiety because their operation has been cancelled. A real apology would be backed up by real action." The Prime Minister said Ms. Butler-Smith's complaint was an individual case she had not seen. She added, "I recognize people have concerns, but she insisted the NHS is treating more people within 4 hours. Of course nothing's perfect and there is more for us to do," she added. It comes after the NHS took the drastic step of postponing 55,000 non-urgent operations beyond the end of January to deal with demand. Mrs. May finally apologized last week for the delays after public pressure. But Mr. Marr told her, "What have you said sorry for?" He said the Tory government was giving the NHS money but had previously stripped billions of pounds from councils, to fund social care. "That is not solving the problem, that is putting a small sticking plaster on the wound that you have created," the BBC interviewer argued. Mrs. May said, "I was apologizing for the fact. Some operations have been postponed and some people have been delayed to hospital." Optimistically, she insisted there are some hospitals where very few operations have been cancelled and said we have put more funding into the NHS. And she said under her watch the government had earmarked billions of pounds more for social care. But Mr. Marr told her, "The tightest funding squeeze in the history of the NHS. And £6 billion out of the social care budget since 2010, which is why there are so many people in hospital beds at the moment. And an NHS reorganisation under Andrew Lansley described by your own former advisor Nick Timothy as being a disaster, creating bureaucracy and destroying accountability. Surely those are the things you should be apologising for."